Hey guys, welcome to my book review, and as you are all aware, we had to pick a book to read off of the list of the most notable nonfiction books of 2014. And there are a lot of books on here. There's about 30, so there's a pretty big selection to choose from, but you can only pick one book. So as I was looking through the books, there was one book that caught my attention almost instantly, and I knew from the first time I saw it that I had to read it, and it is called Can't We Talk About Something More Pleasant? And when you first look at it, you might think that it kind of looks like a picture book. But that is because it actually is a picture book. It is a graphic novel, which means the story is portrayed through comics. So there were three main reasons that I actually decided that I was going to read this book. And they are stated as following. Reason number one. I figured that this must be one really cool comic book if it could make the top 30 notable nonfiction books of 2014. Reason number two. I realized that the book was written and illustrated by none other than Roz Chast. And I think it's pretty safe to assume that most of you are like, who is that? I've never heard of that person in my life. But what I can say is she's actually really pretty famous and pretty well respected in the world of comics. She has drawn the comics in the New Yorker magazine since 1970. She still draws the comics today, which means that she has been drawing comics for a really, really long time. So she obviously knows what she's doing. Here are some examples of the types of comics that she is most known for. As you can see in these following comics, she is mostly known for her dry and witty sense of humor. Like right here in the Nancy Drew Mysteries, the later years, it has Nancy Drew missing her house keys and gaining 8 pounds, and then there's the delusional world of free-range chickens, and this just kind of shows how she likes to use real-life experiences in her comic so that people can laugh at them and relate to them, and hopefully they'll like them. Well, I know for a fact that I personally love Roz's work, which brings me to reason number 3 why I chose this book. Reason number 3 is that I absolutely love the artwork in this book. From the first time I saw the cover, I absolutely fell in love with it. I like the style and the colors, and the cover is so pretty, and everything inside is just so well drawn and so creative and so cute. Also, I really liked that this book only had like 200 pages, but anyway, moving on. So basically, this book exploits the unspoken truth about what really happens to parents as they start to age, and it shows the challenges that are faced as people start to enter their final stages of life. This idea is conveyed using comics drawn by Roz about her personal experiences with her parents and them aging and getting older, and her trying to figure out a way to prepare them for what's to come later on in life. So the very first thing you see when you open the book is a comic between Roz and her father and mother, George and Elizabeth, and she tries to subtly hint at them that they are getting older. And so she goes, so guys, do you ever think about things? And they're like, what kind of things? And she's like, things, plans. Let's say something happened, and they act like she's crazy. And they just brush the topic off to the side because they don't want to talk about it, which is the normal response for being faced with that kind of a topic. Also, since this comic is the very first thing that you would see when opening the book, it's sort of an introduction to what the rest of the story would be like. And the very first thing that you read in this comic is, my parents and I never discussed death. And I think that singular phrase does a really good job of setting the stage for what's to come. Unfortunately, even though her parents didn't want to have to think about death or getting older or the future, there came a point where they had to, because they were both getting older and weaker by the day, and eventually they got sick and they couldn't take care of themselves anymore, so Roz had to send them to the place. What Roz calls the place is actually called assisted living. Though her parents rejected the place, they didn't have any other option but to stay, so they stayed. but they fought back as much as they could until they didn't have enough energy to fight back anymore. This is when Roz realized in full that death did not only affect her parents, but it also affected her. This is an example of what Roz used to think death was like. One day, old Miss McGillicuddy felt unwell and she took to her bed. She stayed there for about 3 or 4 weeks, growing weaker by the day. One night, she developed a death rattle, and soon after that, she died. The end. But after witnessing her own parents having to go through it, she realized that that really wasn't the case at all, and death is much, much different than it's commonly perceived to be. It's actually a really long-lasting process with multiple levels, and it affects everyone around you. People in general usually don't like to talk about things or think about things that are out of their reach or things that they can't control. And in my opinion, that's why I think the topic of death or talking about death or thinking about death is so taboo. Like, no one really does it because no one wants to. Simply because people think that if they don't talk about something or don't bring something out in the open, that it doesn't exist and that you don't have to think about it. That is exactly what makes this book so amazing. It's the fact that the author was able to sort of take the elephant in the room and put it out in the open for people's benefit, and was able to put it in a way that people would be more willing to accept it, which is in a cartoon comic form, which is exactly why I think this book was put on the list of most notable nonfiction, because many people would agree that if we were to exploit the truth, it would make people less afraid of the unknown. Basically, I would recommend this book to anyone who has ever had parents or has parents, because it is absolutely amazing how accurately the author is able to express the relationships between family members. Other than that, the artwork in this book is absolutely beautiful, and there are some really funny moments in here that will absolutely make your day. So I really, really suggest that you read this book. Hey, so thank you guys so much for watching my review of Can't We Talk About Something More Pleasant by Roz Chast. If you want to purchase this book, there is a link in the description down below to a website where you can pick one of these up. And also, there is a interview with Roz Chast linked down below if you want to watch that next. Also, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any requests for any more books I should review, leave that in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much. Bye. See you next time.